Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast. We're a Green Bay Packers fan podcast. A couple of Wisconsin guys bringing you topical and relevant Packers news, along with their most humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 255. We're recording this on a Wednesday, January 10th, 2024. The Packers win big at home against the Bears in Week 18 to get into the playoffs. What a time to be alive. They are set to play the Cowboys on Sunday, 3:25 Central Time, and we'll get into that. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me in studio tonight, it's been a while, is our one and only
Ren. What up, Tay? How we doing? It is January 10th, and we are still talking games with our Jordan Love Green Bay Packers, how good it is to be here first year with this young football team. I congratulated them last week as the youngest team since 1978 to make the playoffs. Well, not quite, Tay. The reason why is the NFL started keeping track of that in 1978. So technically, this is the youngest team that we know of since the NFL started tracking this kind of thing. Amongst other things, it took them into the 80s to start tracking sacks. So I don't know why that one started getting tracked sooner, but we are here, Tay, and we get to face off with our vaunted rivals, the Dallas Cowboys, fundamentals, Sunday, 3:25 at Jerry's World. It is a super blessing to already be here with this young team, probably a year ahead of schedule, just rooting this thing on, playing with house money. How are you feeling, Tay?
Yeah, you said that well. I don't even care what happens on Sunday, honestly. I really don't. We didn't think we were going to get here. We didn't think they belonged here for a long time. And then the last, 6 games, all of a sudden, okay, maybe these guys do deserve to be in this game. And we're here. They did. They made the 7th seed. Yeah, if it was a 6-game playoff bracket, we wouldn't be in it, probably, right? And, it's just the way it is right now. We're in it. We got the 7th seed. So who cares?
We can play spoiler, Tay. And we say we because we are owners, Tay.
Yes,
we are part of this.
Owners.
Our blood, sweat, and tears and emotion goes into this.
I love the spoiler thing because that's I was going to bring that up. I wanted to say that I would love to go down to Dallas and spoil that because you know what? They're number 2. They're the number 2 seed. They think they're going to win. Everyone thinks they're going to win. We are the underdogs. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what any of the coaches say. It would just be so awesome to go down there. Even if we don't make it far into the playoffs, if we win this game against the Cowboys, that would be so awesome. We spoil them. We would just take them out because, there's a lot of talk down there. Mark McCarthy's job was maybe he was in the hot seat. Maybe he wasn't going to make it through the season. Whatever. There's been that talk for a while.
Which is garbage.
There. Sure.
3-12-4 seasons in a row. The Cowboys should be thanking their lucky stars they have Mike McCarthy out there making Dak the best version of himself. Get out of town, man.
But if they were to lose this game and Mike McCarthy would be fired, how could you justify that? I don't understand that. You have to be on Planet Jerry or Planet Weird or Bizarro moon to even think that Mike McCarthy deserves to be fired. He brought this team, he's gotten this team back into relevance, and they had the number 2 seed. Their offense is hot, so it's I don't think so. But I would love to play spoiler. I would love to just pluck those Cowboys right out of the running. That would be so awesome.
Oh God, it would, Tay. And listen, the Packers are undefeated at Jerry's World.
Yeah,
we know that. Played the first Super Bowl there. Obviously won. There is a different quarterback at the helm, but the Packers are honestly, to Cowboys fans, Tay, the Packers kind of like their boogeyman. They had to see this matchup and go, God, especially the Packers.
We're hot.
Packers, and they know you look at Jordan over the last 8 games of the season, 18 touchdowns, 1 interception, Tay.
Yeah.
There was, honestly, let's be honest, no better quarterback during that 8-game stretch in the NFL. There wasn't. I mean, Dak is close. He's played MVP brand of football this year, and we're going to talk more about the Cowboys, but yeah, they should be scared, Tay, because this young team is so young, they don't know any better on any of this.
Nope.
And Jordan Love, he'll just spread the football around. It doesn't matter. whoever's open in the concept on,
Whoever's healthy
play to
and in
play.
there, yep.
He's not circling a guy, which Dak will. We know that's 88. CeeDee Lamb, we'll talk more about him. He's a super stud. Let's be honest, it's going to be a problem on Sunday. He's going to get his, but it's just fun to be here. We're already talking about it, to be in this position with this team right away, year one, them doing this past Sunday what Aaron Rodgers and the old crew couldn't do last year against Detroit, is crazy. Yeah. And we're nobody's underdog, taking a play out of Fundamentals handbook there, Tay. It's Mike McCarthy week, so it's fun. Packers Cowboys is a classic NFL matchup. The Packers have been on the better side of this since the 90s. It took Favre's team a couple times go around with the Cowboys to finally get over that hump, but the Packers have been in control of this thing for a long, long time. The Cowboys have not seen an NFC championship game since 95. So they are desperate.
Yeah.
Those fans are going to be all over Mike McCarthy. I don't know how Jerry's feeling, but it sounded like in Dallas media that Jerry is sticking with Mike regardless of what happens, because he initially said, well, we're going to see what happens week to week in the playoffs. He kind of came out on his radio show because, Jerry likes to go on radio programs down in Big D and talk about the Cowboys every week as the meddling owner that he is. So, I'm glad, because Mike deserves it based on what he's been able to accomplish down there. I mean, many people in the national media everywhere wrote this guy off for dead. When he came back in the NFL, they had a bad 6-10 season, or 4-12 his first year, and then ever since he's got him on the right track. So it's going to be fun, though. It's been fun already listening to it. It's only Wednesday. I'm just eating this stuff up today. It's been fantastic.
It is a great time to be a Packers fan, a great time to be alive. No one saw this coming. And now that they're in, there's a little more justification for this team being here now than there was, 2 months ago. If this season were to stop, it's like, this team isn't good enough. But they have really battled through that adversity, I guess, and trying to either get production out of their current players or just, shake off some of that, rookiness, I guess, for lack of a better term. It's like they just needed to find themselves and get in a groove.
They were 2-5.
Yeah.
We talked about week 4, week 5, receivers would run the same routes and run into each other. That's how bad this team was from a youth standpoint. And Tucker Kraft didn't look good in the first many weeks of the season, and the limited action he got. And suddenly you look at him developing, and at this point, obviously, unfortunately, Lucas hasn't been able to be in there, but you look at his development, you might say he's your number one tight end going into next year with what he's been able to do as an inline blocker and then releasing, because he's the full package tight end. It's just been, again, a tale of two halves of the season for this Green Bay Packers football team. And then, obviously that big accelerant the last 3 weeks is a healthy Aaron Jones putting up over 400 yards the last 3 weeks is phenomenal. When I saw him finally get back against Carolina on that turf, which again, outside in Carolina, why they don't have grass, I'm not sure, but he was so fast and you're like, ooh, he's back. And what this team can be with all those pass catchers and a healthy running game, hey, Cowboys fans, you should be scared of the boogeyman.
Yeah, it's like I almost worry that Matt LaFleur has too tough of a time to figure out this stuff if he has all of his weapons, and everyone available. I don't know. I guess you play from the top down, and you put in your studs, and you put in your who was number one at the time. You put in Watson if he's healthy. You put in Aaron Jones. And then you put in Luke Musgrave, I guess, and then see what happens. And maybe you can adjust that, which they have been doing a lot of adjustments and stuff with personnel and even play calling. But I guess that's what you do. But yeah, you got to start with that. We always had Jair's back, but but now it's like, well, I mean, he played a decent game. We didn't hear his name called too many times.
Which is when you don't hear it called,
right?
That's you're playing a pretty good game. That's what you want to hear. That you don't hear.
I didn't see any videos of him pulling up on tackles or doing any weird stuff. So you got to play that guy, especially maybe this is poetic here. You put him on CeeDee Lamb all day, hopefully Joe Barry can make that judgment call when obviously we could. Play press man, play man to man, just do a little safety over top. That's 2 guys on 1 guy. That's fine.
And you could play press man and zone mix. You can have press man with Jair and CeeDee. CeeDee, we're going to talk more about him. Primarily, majority of his snaps come out of the slot, so you can mix that thing up, man.
But this Packers team as a whole has really done some really good things for themselves and just kind of executed the kind of football they've wanted to be executing probably all along. On all, 2 phases. Special teams is still, to me, is like, we didn't see any punts, which was nice from Whelan on Sunday, which is strange, but we didn't get to see that. What did Anders? Did he miss anything?
He missed that field goal, remember?
Right.
That first half, right. I think it was like a 41-yarder.
It could have been 10-3, but it was 7-3.
And so there was the big gaff, which they should have not even tried to run the other play and then ran out of time and just kicked it, getting into the half with that extra 3. So there were some definite, just kind of boneheaded things in that game. But again...
Well, what I noticed with that is, this team seems to be able to brush that aside, brush it off, bounce back, and actually not let that bother them, not let them put them behind, and move forward. Again, the Packers were dealing with a lead the whole time. I think they really excel in that position. That could be obvious, but I think that's the position they need to be in come Sunday against the Cowboys. They need to go up first and play that way. That's the way they were playing against the Bears, and they just put their foot on their throat and just never let it up, really. I mean, they made some mistakes and stuff, but they were able to bounce back, forget about that stuff. Even after Jordan Love fumbled that and they recovered it was the only turnover of the game, he was able to brush that off himself. But, as a whole, the Packers could be just like, okay, we're mature now. We're poised. We can do this. And that's, I think, is a huge change from mid-season. I think they're able to overcome that stuff. And I don't know if that's just because of experience now or they're confident in themselves. Maybe it's coaching. I think it's more to do with the players themselves than the coaching. And I don't know what you think about Joe anymore. Joe's probably been able to save his job over the last 4 weeks, but you could make an argument that he still needs to go. I think I'm ready for a change. I wanted to ask you that. What you've seen on the defense lately, is that Joe? Does he deserve to stay? Where are your thoughts with that? I know it doesn't matter right now because they've been playing well and they're going into this playoff game, but still, the game's gonna end on Sunday, and if we lose, everyone's gonna bring it up. That's gonna be a topic. So why not discuss it now before a result even takes place? So what are you thinking?
I mean, that's part of it is I don't want to talk about it because we got this going on, Tay. It's like, who cares? I mean, it'll get here when it gets here. The reality is, they have played better over the last few weeks, but remember Matt said he was going to have more of a say in that when things got really bad.
Okay.
And since he's had more say in the defense, and I don't know how much of a fingerprint he has on that, but he certainly has some ever since then, and they have played better since then. So there's some control factor. There's some adjustment there ever since he said that he'd have to make that part of his
insert himself
piece.
A little bit.
Yep. So and we have been in those rooms and make sure those things are being schemed up properly and that everybody's being heard. So I don't put a whole lot of the success over the last few weeks on Joe Barry. I think they've done some nice things. They haven't really done anything super exotic. Now, at times they are finally, instead of rushing, 4 or 3, they're sometimes rushing 5, or they're giving you a corner blitz at times, or bringing up, Quay Walker to blitz, which is nice. So they're doing some things, but nothing out of the ordinary. Just a little bit more than they did before. And I think that has some LaFleur fingerprints on that, just to make sure this thing's a little bit more cohesive. I mean, there are other guys on the team. They're still backing Joe, and they've said some nice things about Joe. And again, we all know Joe's a good guy, but this isn't a good guy business. This is a results-based business, and I still don't think it's by the time the season ends, whenever that may be, is going to be good enough to save Joe's job. But at this point, I don't think it's that important. I mean, obviously they make a Super Bowl run today. Well, Joe might get another season, and so be it. But I think it would take something like that to really remember his contract. Joe Barry Tay is up this year, so they can just agree to part ways, and
you don't have to fire him,
right? And they're just not gonna bring him back.
Yeah.
So I think it makes parting the ways pretty easy, and there's not much to it.
I do want to see a change eventually. I don't really care what happens on Sunday. I guess I do care what happens next year. So that's what I'm looking at. I wanted to bring it up now before we played the game, because if we lose the game because of the defense, we're gonna say, what the hell, this is BS. It's Joe Barry's fault. Like, we should have seen this coming, that kind of thing. So it's like, I'd like to get in our opinions before the result, just to see what happens, because the track record is there for this year. I honestly think the last 4 games, the defense is better because of individual players performing.
That's exactly right. And flowing to the football, they're playing with that energy. But then again, that's on players, Tay. They know what's in front of them.
Yeah.
They barely beat the Carolina Panthers, and Bryce Young had his best game of the season. The week before, you've got Baker over there looking like a Hall of Famer.
Right.
So that was 2 of your 4 last games.
Before that, it was an NFC player, offensive player of the week with what's his name?
With
DeVito.
Danny DeVito, Cash Money or whatever he was doing out there with his little elf, agent on the sidelines. But all that said, I mean, so it's not like it's been crazy, but yes, suddenly since the Viking game, the Bear game, 2 of your bitter rivals, I mean, yeah, the defense has played well, but I would attribute that more to, again, Matt having a little say, and then the players really playing together, knowing what's in front of them and balling out. I mean, you saw the energy they've been playing with, especially on Sunday, that in that Bears matchup. Guys are just going getting after it. They just seem to have a little extra juice, a little bit of an extra step to the ball, and that can make all the difference at times.
And this Packers offense, I think, is really doing some awesome things. Jordan Love is on fire. This kid is nailing it right now. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Our confidence, I think, can be given to him because of the last several weeks with that. You read off that stat of 18 touchdowns, 1 interception the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something.
8 weeks of the season. Yeah.
That's huge. I mean,
amazing.
This kid just got offensive player of the week for the second straight week. He's like in the top, the second in touchdowns on the year, second to Dak. So just alone, Jordan is playing amazing. Then you couple that with the resurgence of Aaron Jones when he's fully healthy here, with 3 100+ yard games back to back, and then these wide receivers are just coming into their own. Either they know what to do, or they're just that talented in this scheme, and it's next man up. Jaden Reed's been kind of in and out, but when he's in, he's amazing. Obviously, Watson's been out. Bo Melton has stepped up, made the active roster in the last few weeks. Romeo Dobbs is kind of battling some injuries here and there, but he's still there. He's doing his stuff. Wicks is in there. I mean, these guys are awesome. So these guys are playing very, very well for us, and that's made the difference. It is this offense is hitting their stride right when they need to be, and that's why they're going to be dangerous against the Cowboys come Sunday. This running game is coming to, I guess, ahead right where it needs to be. Last week, wasn't it? I didn't even hear this till after the game, but the Bears had the best run defense coming into last week against the run, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's pretty impressive then. But the Packers being able to do that against them, so you're gonna need it. You're gonna need a well balanced offense, which is I see the Packers being able to do. So this team is hot. It's awesome. It feels good. And I don't know. This is gonna be great. This is such a great feeling right now.
It is a great feeling, Tay. But they got a huge hurdle against the Dallas Cowboys. This Cowboys team, Tay, has not lost in Dallas since week 1 of 2022 season.
Oof.
So you're talking. That's a long time ago. That's not this season, Tay. That was week 1 of the season prior.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible run they've been on. But this Packers team. have scored 34 plus points against Dallas in all 4 of their games in AT&T Stadium. They are the only team with 4+ wins and no losses against the Cowboys there. And this is kind of a fun little anecdote about this upcoming matchup. The first time in NFL history that the outright 2 top touchdown passing leaders will face off in their team's playoff opener, with Love with 32 touchdown passes on the season today and Dak Prescott with 36. So just little interesting anecdotes to open up a little bit of talk about the Cowboys down in Big D. But any lasting pieces from the Bears game getting into the playoffs that you want to touch base on before we maybe start talking about what the Packers are up against truly when it comes to the Cowboys Sunday afternoon?
No, other than I just think the Packers have in the past in this season run up against some hard times and then they've buckled. This time they bounced back from everything. Were able to put together a complete game, and they followed through with this Bears win. Like, yeah, there was the fumble, there was some that at the end of the first half debacle with the time thing. But they just cast that aside, like I said before. But they finished this game. They were able to make a drive successful enough to run out the clock. They were able to do that, stop them on defense, and then get the ball back and run the ball for a first down to win the game. And when Aaron Jones ran that I don't know, it was like 12, 14-yard run or something, I was like, yes, finally something that you can just, tangibly see, like, they did that. They finished the game and they won. And that's what I like to see. That was the exclamation point on that for me. If they're able to do that here against the Bears, they can do that against the Cowboys, and that's a statement.
Yeah, the Packers didn't let the Bears lose it. The Packers won it. I also think that game, a couple last things that, kind of lasting impressions to me. There was that 92-yard, 11-play drive in the second quarter that was their longest drive of the season to get their first touchdown, which I thought was super impressive. And then obviously the miscue going into the half wasn't good, but then they come out, they get the ball to start the half, they go down, get another touchdown, they put it behind them. Was super clutch there as well. And then, yeah, you mentioned that final drive. They've got the ball. They start at the 5, I want to say, Tay.
Yeah.
It was the 5-yard line. That huge third down pass to Tucker Kraft was just enormous. And then, as you mentioned, yeah, they put that final dagger into him, as Wayne and Larry called it together, Tay. I did get to hear that. And
nice.
Larry's just going with Wayne on the call, like synonymous. They were both of them just over the moon about it. And yeah, Aaron Jones hitting that last one. It was just a great team win, and they won it. They didn't, the Bears didn't just kind of roll over and you got the win at the end. They took that win on their own and got in the playoffs, and you love to see it.
Well, I mean, what we keep kind of saying and reiterating, but I guess this is the last thing, and I guess this is a little bit of transition. Like everyone left this team for dead, like mid-season, and they cast off Jordan Love. They cast off this team. They cast off Joe Barry. Even Matt LaFleur's head was being called for, and they turned it around. So that's impressive. That's why I think they also deserve to be here, because they did earn it. They bounced back. They came back. They rebuilt themselves, re-identified themselves, and said, no, we can compete in this league. We made the playoffs. Boom. Take that, everybody. Like it doesn't necessarily silence the critics, but it at least silences the dumb knee-jerk reactions that everyone is capable of and does
and
from
even
time
us
to time.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
In that 2-5
yeah.
that spell of the season when you get to right after that drubbing by the Vikings out in Minnesota, we're all feeling pretty low about it. But I think we saw a really young quarterback with his first stint with a really young, group of guys, kind of mature before our eyes over the last half of the season. And it was, something amazing to watch. It really was.
That's why this is even more special, I think, going into this game, going into the wild card weekend. It's like, okay, well, we didn't think we were going to be here. Now we're here. We kind of think we deserve to be here. Let's do this.
Oh, they 100% deserve to be there the way they played. The last anecdote from the Bears game that I didn't bring up in the first take, and it just kind of popped in my head now. out of nowhere is weird, Tay. And I hope this translates to the Cowboys game. I don't know who the crew is going to be, but I don't know if I saw one flag.
Oh,
in that
yeah.
game. It was like the no flag game. Were there flags in that game?
There was one.
Like
I know
one or
one.
two.
Yeah.
Late
Second half.
But it was, they let them play, and I loved it. It was just, two teams fighting it out, and obviously the Packers doubled up the yardage on the Bears. Should have been way more points up on the board. Just so happened that unfortunately, the fumble happened with Jordan on that one first down run. The missed points on a couple gaffes, but it could have been a much, much bigger point differential. And it really felt that way. The Packers controlled the ball, controlled the clock, controlled the yardage. They beat up the Bears on Sunday too.
So we get the Dallas Cowboys, and we get, it says here, we get Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson with Aaron Andrews on the sideline. This is a 325 slot. This is
Fox's A team nowadays too.
Yeah. So you would, for any weekend games, including this Saturday, there's a three of them.
Super wild card weekend, as they call it now. So there's even a Monday game during Super wild card weekend.
Is there? So was there two on Saturday?
I think it's two on Saturday. Because
it's got to be 6 games.
Yeah.
So there's 3 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday.
I want to say it's two Saturday, 3 Sunday, 1 Monday.
Okay.
Yep.
So the 325 one says to me that this is important to
325 and the
NFL.
Sunday nighter is those are the two, like, we're putting them out in front of you. Those are the big ones, Tay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Because that's awesome too. This isn't a noon tilt. This isn't
the NFL
Saturday.
loves Cowboys Packers Day. This is 1967, last day of 1967, December 31st, 1967 is the Ice Bowl. They love themselves some Packers Cowboys. There's been a lot of great matchups in history. Did Dez catch it? Nope. Mason Crosby, hitting the killer field goal back in 2018 when the Cowboys were a 1 or 2 seed and the Packers were a 4 seed, and I think that was in the divisional round. It's been a lot of fun over the years with the Cowboys, and there were some other tough ones in the 90s with Aikman getting over on Favre's teams. Packers Cowboys is certainly a fun matchup for the NFL.
You got 2 AFC games on Saturday, one on Sunday at noon, and then you have the Green Bay Packer Dallas game. Then you have LA Rams against Detroit Sunday night. So hopefully the Packers win, then you can watch, the Detroit Lions
That's a super intriguing matchup. I mean, you talk about all the drama there with Matt Stafford being traded from Detroit, coming back home.
For us, it's like,
right. You have Jared Goff being cast off.
Yeah.
Going there, he's a higher seed to beat his old team. Like, you're throwaway garbage.
Yep.
He has a chance to kind of rue those demons and chance for the Lions to get their first playoff win since 1991 against that team with all that drama and storyline. No, that's a great matchup. I love that one. That's probably the one I'm looking forward to most outside of the Packers Cowboys matchup upcoming this weekend.
And then you look at Monday night, Philly at Tampa. Philly's playing like trash the last 5 games.
Yep.
And then
but they draw the easy, go down to Tampa. If we get it,
sure.
The best matchup we could have got is that,
right?
Being a wild card. So
you think? Do you think the Packers are better than the Buccaneers right now?
Well, after seeing them 4 weeks ago, it's hard to say yes, Tay. But I would say they would give Tampa a hell of a game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to some Cowboys.
Let's get the damn boys, Tay.
We got the Dak attack. We got the CeeDee Lamb, and a couple guys on defense too.
That's big, yeah.
But I really think the offensive line for the Packers has risen to the challenge lately to protect Jordan, and I think that's happened a lot. That's a storyline that this year has been able to. At least it's a positive one for the Packers. I mean, Jordan's been protected pretty much all season as a blanket statement, so that's good. You get to watch out for their rush, of course. That's just gonna be dangerous. That's what I'm not looking forward to. But can our defensive backs cover CeeDee Lamb? What's going to happen?
I mean, Tay, CeeDee Lamb, you got to put him in, offensive player of the year conversations with Tyreek Hill, guys like that. I mean, he's the full number one wide receiver package. I mean, he 135 receptions, over 1,700 yards this year, like 8 or 9 touchdowns. Again, plays from the slot. He's Dak's number one. They're always looking to get him involved. That's where the offense runs. I mean, a couple weeks ago in that game, they should have lost to the Lions at a controversial 2-point conversion call. They needed everything from CeeDee Lamb, and he put up like 220 yards today. He consistently puts up over 100 yards a game. He's going to put up over 100 yards in this game. It's just how do you limit it? You're not shutting down CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
CeeDee and Dak and Mike McCarthy's play calling, especially with their brand of Mike McCarthy's kind of a little bit more older school West Coast offense, still down in Dallas with some newer school wrinkles to that. It's just really hard. They've wanted down in Dallas their running game to really complement the passing game this year, and it just really hasn't been that. Now, Tony Pollard's a good back. He can hit it. As the Cowboys people will tell you about all the time, he can break a 60-yarder on you. And sure, he got 1,000 yards in the season, but they just really haven't been very productive on the ground. That's not where they beat you. It's Dak and CeeDee, and then from there, Jake Ferguson has the second most targets on the Cowboys. I think with 71. And if you know or don't know, former Badger Jake Ferguson, also the grandson of Barry Alvarez, has turned himself into a great pass catching tight end in the NFL. I mean, he's played very well for the Cowboys. He's a kind of young rising star, and when people talk about fantasy leagues and stuff, this guy is he's a big deal. He's a big thing down there. If Dak's not finding CeeDee, it's usually Jake Ferguson who is next in line, followed by Brandon Cooks. I mean, that's kind of how this offense goes. There's some other outlying receivers that do get a few catches here and there, but it's really those three guys, and really then when you get down to the brass tacks, it's really Lamb and Ferguson.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to play those guys well. You'll see, if they play more zone, which they tend to do, if Ferguson getting under that zone between the safety and the cornerback, that's where tight end wants to kind of get comfortable. So they're going to have to be, definitely minding their P's and Q's with that. And the Cowboys have a hell of an offensive line too, Tay. It's hard to get to Dak, so they're going to need the Packers to go out and play like they have against the Vikings and the Bears. And, again, are we going to see exotic blitz looks? Probably not. But send an extra guy or two occasionally. Send a corner blitz like they've been doing. Send Quay Walker, up the middle at him. Yeah, you're gonna have to get a little creative and hopefully get a little, that contribution like they got from everybody last week. You talk about Brooks, Van Ness,
right,
Gary,
Yep.
Clark. Those guys got to play, their best brand of football to get after these Cowboys because, frankly, that offense is super dangerous and they're going to put up points on you. And this is going to be, in order to stay in this game, Tay, it's going to be a little bit of a track meet. This is not going to be a low-scoring game from the Cowboys' outlook of things. And for the Packers to win, they're going to have to be kind of matching wits offensively with them. And you just hope, again, your defense can limit the damage at times. Like they've done against the Bears when the Bears drove down and the same against the Vikings in that game. The Packers defense seems to stiffen up when they get inside the 30, and that's when they're going to need to make plays and let that conservative McCarthy offense go, yeah, it's 4th and 2. I'm just going to kick the field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of Mike McCarthyism. He gets a little conservative there. He's usually not a gambler that way. Usually takes the points. I think the best defense for the Packers is going to be their offense come Sunday. If you can sustain some really nice long drives, keeping that potent Dallas offense off the field as much as possible, again, that's going to be a recipe to win the football game. With, again, by doing that, you have to have a nice mix of running and passing and making sure Aaron Jones sees at minimum, probably 20 carries in this game, if not 25 carries, and hopefully be very effective.
Yeah. And, we didn't talk about him specifically, but Micah Parsons had he sat 14 sacks, I think. Let me just look.
I mean, number 11's out there, Tay.
14 sacks this year. So what do? You have to watch that guy,
and they line them up everywhere. So you just have to. The line you talked about it's super important. I mean, Rasheed Walker and Zach Tom have been very good. I think Walker over the last half of the season was 6th ranked left tackle in the NFL. That's saying a lot for where he's come.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive there. But they got guys like DeMarcus Lawrence too, Tay. They got another guy, Jonathan Hankins, anchoring that middle of that defense. He's kind of the guy that just sucks it up the middle, stuffs that run and occasionally can collapse on your center. So, let's not pay some, kudos to the Dallas Cowboys defense too. That's part of the reason they're having the season that they are.
Mm-hmm. I think, we've seen Matt LaFleur being able to dial up some really awesome plays. And I think he's got to kind of go back at least into his repertoire and try to do some interesting screens or some, even end arounds. You got to get those guys like Micah Parsons to rush, but then go, oh, shoot, this isn't that. I'm not just trying to get Jordan to the ground here. I got to play some football. So I really think Matt LaFleur's got to do that with some nice game planning. We've seen that from time to time. So that's going to be, I think, a key to the game is to keep this defensive line at least kind of off kilter, off balance. Yep. And, that can help with Aaron Jones being in the game. I mean, he can do a lot. He can run outside to be a wide receiver. He can, be that gadget player that they think he's going to, go to, or they're going to go to, and then they can, fake around to Jaden Reed when he's coming around the end or whatever. But I think that's going to be important. I really think you got to get these guys off balance. And the receivers have shown that they can get down and work those zones. So I think that's going to be a key too. Are we going to outrun the DBs for big, huge 60, 80-yard passes? Probably not. We haven't seen that in a long time.
But it's getting
huge deep balls.
Again, it's getting underneath those guys, like they've been doing so well.
Run after the catch.
And you saw, I think it was Dontavian Wicks just literally, I think he took a Bears defender's soul on one of those where he just goes inside. I think Wayne Larrabee's comment was, you could have frozen vodka with that move because vodka doesn't freeze. I was like, nice, Wayne. Wow. Where did you pull that one from? But Dontavian Wicks really has that kind of that little bit of, our old man, Tay there. Yeah. Those kind of footwork moves. And it's nice to see. And they're just going to have to get under that coverage and do what they've been doing. Jordan Love, throughout the last 8 games of the season, Tay, I think almost every game, there were at least 9 different pass catchers. So the ball gets spread around. He doesn't care. That's super important to this offense. Jaquan Brisker, the Bears can say whatever the hell he wants. There's no stars over there. Nobody gives a damn what Jaquan Brisker says. The fact is, they don't have to be stars because they're a unit. Yep. And who you going to cover? Yep. It's not like the Packers can put and trail Jair on CeeDee Lamb because what CeeDee Lamb is. Okay, pick your poison with the Packers. One of these dudes is going to get open, and they're going to be open a lot, Tay. They really are. As long as Jordan is on point, getting the ball out to these guys, it's going to be successful. They're going to put up points. They're going to move the football. The Cowboys are 18th against the rush. They allow 4.2 yards per carry, so they're not great there. So, again, keep them honest with the run game. I hope A.J. Dillon, the only guy not to practice today, only one. They're getting pretty. The Packers getting healthy the right time, but it would really be nice to have that kind of, 8 carries from A.J. Dillon just to pound it in the middle of that defense occasionally, just to wear him down a little bit. But you mentioned number 11 produced 103 pressures, that being Micah Parsons, Tay, on the season. That is most among all edge rushers in the NFL. The guy is a superstar. He is a massive talent, and he's gonna be a problem. I mean, there's just like CD on offense. You're gonna have to account for the guy where he's at. And he's going to get his a little bit. It's just there's no way around it. Again, this game to me, Tay, really comes down to the Packers got to match offensive wits with this football team. And as a result, if you do, it's going to keep them off the field a little bit. And if you're the last one with the ball, we've seen what Jordan's been able to do. He doesn't shrink in the moment. So what we've seen down the stretch, hey, could be a good position for the Packers to be in.
When I look at the Cowboys injury report, it says Stephon Gilmore, cornerback, Jonathan Hankins, like you mentioned,
The big old D tackle. Yep.
and Zach Martin, the guard, the DeMarcus Lawrence, the defensive end. These are all did not participate today. This is the first injury report, so that might change for some of these. But did you hear any word on these defensive players?
All I know about is I think Gilmore's definitely of those guys. When you mention those important guys on those DNPs, that likely has a chance of not playing. The old vet from New England,
Yeah.
obviously not quite the player he once was, but still, hey, I know they lost their number one corner earlier in the year, so. Not having him is not the something they have to worry about because he's been out for a long time. And you lose Gilmore. Certainly, they're a little weak back there in the defensive backfield. And again, we just talked about how successful the Packers, pass catching battery has been because, you can't count for all of them because there's just a bunch of dudes and they don't care. They play together and go out and catch balls. So that could be, something to take advantage of when we're talking about, Gilmore likely not being available on Sunday afternoon. But other than that, I sounds like Hankins is going to play and Lawrence.
Yeah, I think he's just getting veteran rest or something.
To my knowledge, also is going to play.
So we got the Packers going down to Dallas. Haven't lost there since 2009, but that's when they opened the stadium.
No, they've never lost at Jerry's World.
In Jerry's World ever?
The Green Bay Packers have never lost in AT&T Stadium, I believe that is, Jerry's World. Obviously won the first ever Super Bowl there.
Sure.
Have never lost to the Cowboys there. They are the only team never to lose to Cowboys there. And I believe the Packers against the Cowboys have put up 31 or more in every one of those 4 victories against the Cowboys in Dallas. So again, they're the Cowboys boogeyman. The fans are scared today. They are. They saw this draw. They didn't like it. And until the clock strikes 0 and they actually beat the Packers, they're going to be nervous like I am in so many days. In so many games. And that's one of those things where, like I said, this week, I don't care. I wanted them to get that taste. Yeah. They're going to go against a team, and this is what a potential Super Bowl team looks like. How do you match up with it? Get the taste. This was like, guys, we're already here, and it's going to be better for everyone on that football team to even play in one game. So again, it's house money today. It's just fun. We get to win, lose, or draw. Unless they lose 70-20, we're going to be pretty stoked with the outcome, I think.
Some Dallas Cowboy fans personally. So have you heard anything from anybody about this game, or is you just kind of staying away from that?
No, I don't talk about that at all. Maybe we'll talk as it gets closer to Sunday. But, it's just fun when you hear it all over you see the interwebs. Cowboys fans are scared today. They'll talk smack, but they're also scared. They're scared as hell of this Green Bay Packers team. No Aaron, doesn't matter. They just know that the Packers are, how we got to play the Packers. That's the team we can't beat.
Just like the Bears,
team they
just like the Bears
beat. It was kind of like the Packers. I think in the mid teens with the Niners and still recently. It's like if we have to face the Niners, let's say we beat the Cowboys, they will have to play the Niners.
Right.
And again, we don't care this year, but if the Packers were, 2 years from now when we expect them to be competing for Super Bowls and they're playing the Niners, we'd be like,
ooh, don't like that.
We got to play the Niners. Even if we were higher seed, we'd be like, and they're coming to Lambeau, we're like, this sucks.
Yep. Because they beat us out there. They beat us here.
It's the way it's felt for a lot of years.
Yeah. So, all right, Ren, let's get down to brass tacks here. You think they're going to win or they're going to lose?
I'm going to go with the upset, Tay. Yeah.
Upset. Okay.
I'm going to go with the Packers upset.
Okay. Yep. You think it's going to be a high-scoring game?
I do. Absolutely.
Care to
absolutely
throw down a score on this one?
Sure. I'll go 34-31 Pack, Tay.
Wow, by a field goal.
By an Anders Carlson field goal. How improbable.
That's two field goals if you're 34, right?
Well, it could end up that way. Sure.
So that's 2 field goals Anders makes. And yeah.
You're in the dome. Perfect conditions, Tay. Should they bring in Tay? Number 21.
Yes.
For a playoff run. He is on the Giants practice squad.
Yes.
You could peel him off there. I've heard other folks in the podcast sphere talk about it this week. Like, when you could just say to the young guy, hey, just for this playoff game, we're doing it.
Yeah.
This is about wins.
This is about Mason.
But no, you stick with the young guy. If he does it, he does it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And then you reassess from there.
But basically, the Packers are saying, we went with this young guy. Whatever happens. We're still gonna go with this young guy. But man, if you were to lose this playoff game by a field goal, wow, I don't even
by a missed field goal.
By a missed field goal, I mean, sorry, I don't even know what to think.
PAT.
That's hard one to swallow.
It's gonna, I would say, push for some competition in the offseason. Yeah.
Right, but then you okay, why didn't you do that last year? But okay, we won't get into it.
They should have had some competition, no doubt.
I'm going to also be reckless and in the moment and back my Packers.
As you should.
And say that they're going to win with the upset as the underdog down in Jerryland. But I'm going to go 27 because Anders is going to miss a PAT. It's going to be 27-25.
Okay, Tay.
Win
Weird
by 2.
Score.
Win by 2.
I think this one gets in the 30s for both teams, regardless.
It's possible.
So it's going to be an interesting game. Do you know the line, Tay?
I don't, but I'm going to guess that it's probably 5.5 or 5. It's got to be 5.5. Dallas.
A reasonable person would think that's right. It's 7.5 Dallas.
So they're giving them a touchdown plus.
Crazy. The Packers are not getting any respect out in Vegas in this game. But I mean, listen, this Cowboys offense has been, one of the best, if not the best, passing offenses in the NFL all year. They're at home where they don't lose. At home, they put up just a boatload of points week to week. So, bettors are clearly expecting the same thing, that Dallas is just going to go out, take that home field advantage and put up a lot of points, and the Packers are going to not be able to just basically, trade blows with them.
So LaFleur versus McCarthy. Do you think there's anything there? I don't think there's anything with these coaches just want to win.
Yep.
We had their teams win. I don't think there's any kind of rivalry or kind of weird stuff going on between those two. I think this is I don't know if I would pin them either of them as a offensive guru here. I think Matt LaFleur's kind of gotten some talent around him lately with Aaron, and then this new team. Maybe I don't know, if that's necessarily the reason for the success down there in Dallas. I mean, Dak was around for a while. CeeDee Lamb, is 4 years old now down there. I don't know if I pin this on McCarthy myself, or if it's just kind of things are coming together finally, just kind of they are in Green Bay.
I do, because I think that, he's really got Dak to get to the point where he's playing his best football. And everybody talks about Dak being this, interception prone kind of guy. And he really isn't. He averages between 8 and 10 interceptions a season. Jordan had 11. I mean, this is a guy doesn't put the ball in harm's way most of the time. I know he's labeled as that, but the label really doesn't fit. He generally puts up, big numbers year to year. It just doesn't get respect for it. And clearly, he came in the league in 2016. He's playing his best football now. I mean, he's a veteran quarterback. He sees the field; it's a lot slower for him. And I think Mike McCarthy gets the best out of his quarterbacks. I mean, you can just look all the way back at Brett Favre. I think, Brett, we watched it for the final how many years with him and Mike Sherman, and he just got worse and worse. And you could kind of see the writing was on the wall that Favre's career was going to be done, and he didn't look great. And then Mike comes into town, and suddenly Brett's, 2008, you remember that magical run? Brett's playing his best football again. And it was great. It was great to see. And you look with, back then, Aaron being, obviously drafted during that time where Brett's playing his best ball. Obviously, that's a motivating factor, but Aaron gets into that McCarthy offseason quarterback camp. Aaron was a bit of a project coming out of college.
Yeah.
He went to community college, and then he went to Cal after that for a couple of years. But he always carried the ball too high, they said, the Jeff Tedford offense, and Mike kind of worked out his mechanics a little bit. Not saying Mike is the, creator of one of the best throwers of the football ever, but he certainly helped Aaron get there faster, I think. And I think he's done that with Dak too. I think Mike, is a little bit of a, quarterback whisperer. I think he gets the best out of his guys, and I give a lot of credit to Mike McCarthy with that. And I think Dak's hell of a good NFL quarterback too. I think he can take his team to the dance.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Dak is good. I just think he needs to play his best and play, within his capabilities. If he gets out there and tries to do too much, just like a lot of quarterbacks, they make mistakes. Let me ask you this: if the Packers, if all the teams in the NFL did not have head coaches, and you were asked to pick one for the Packers, would you pick Matt LaFleur or Mike McCarthy right now with Jordan Love?
Oh, I absolutely pick Matt LaFleur. I mean, he's the younger football mind. I think it translates to what the NFL game is today so much better. Mike's
Then old man McCarthy.
Fundamentally, Mike plays an older brand of football a little bit. I think he's married that again with some new school wrinkles, but I think he's more of a traditionalist, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just would rather have the young creative mind with a young quarterback like Jordan than I would with Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I agree too. I think McCarthy's time here in Green Bay ever is done. I think he's I wouldn't want him back. I like Mike as a person, great guy, but
he's a positive guy too.
And I'm actually surprised at how far he's gotten his Cowboys, to be honest with you. So there were times when the Cowboys looked bad. They looked like they were a coin flip every week. You just didn't know what you were going to get. But they seem to be on a roll. And now the Packers, who are also on a roll, meet in Super Wild Card Weekend. So this is awesome.
It is.
Like you said,
Can't wait, man.
We're playing with borrowed money, house money. We're playing with house money.
And borrowed time today.
Borrowed time. So
that's what you're looking for.
I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. Well, thanks for coming back to the studio. I know it's been a long time. It's
been a minute, as I say, as the kids say, Tay.
But things happen. So, you'll be back here more, I'm assuming. So, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Love to be here, man. We're talking Packer playoff football.
Packer, I know.
First year, the Jordan Love era, Tay.
We're back, baby. We're back. Can you believe that?
You got to end this with a get on the love train. Everybody join in.
Everybody join in the love train.
That's right. That's right, Tay.
This is incredible. I can't, not many people probably thought this was going to happen. There's two guys in this room that didn't think it either.
Certainly not 9 weeks ago, Tay.
No, so this is awesome. Let's enjoy this for what it is, Packer Universe. The Packers are in the playoffs in this new era with Jordan Love. So, here's to many, many more. We appreciate everyone listening, everyone subscribing, and everyone supporting us. It means a lot to us. Enjoy the heck out of this game. We'll be back after it for our first takeaway. Right, Ren?
You got it, Tay. We're not going down there to play hopscotch. Until episode 256, Tay, on the pup list.
Thank you.